Alright, all you Streetlight Crusaders, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans out there tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night New Year's Eve special. And realizing it out loud right now, that title is way too long, so we're going back to the Tuesday Night Special. And now it's time for us to talk about what happened during the final Monday Night Raw of 2019 from Hartford, Connecticut. Home of the McMahons, but not only that, the home of the Mean Street Posse. And they need to get more respect on their names. I don't know why they didn't mention them sooner, but really do. But besides the Mean Street Posse, folks, Monday Night Raw would kick off with Kevin Owens, a man on a mission, marching his way down to the ring, and not only talking about what happened last week to him, but to Rey Mysterio and to Samoa Joe, and the consequences that would follow afterwards, which would lead to Rey Mysterio ending up in the hospital, and on the side of that, losing his United States Championship to Andrade Cien Almas at Madison Square Garden last week, and would say that he's gonna keep calling out the AOP and Seth Rollins until he gets his pound of flesh and takes one of them out with him. And Seth Rollins and AOP would try to say, I'm gonna take you kicking and screaming, blah blah blah, yak yak yak, and I guess Kevin Owens felt the same way, because he would go right outside the ring and try to go for the AOP, and unfortunately, would realize why they're called the Authors of Pain, because they would send them back inside the ring and try to beat the living daylights out of them, only until the ipso facto leader of the Nation of Violence himself would make his way to the ring, none other than Samoa Joe. And he would be able to take out Razor with a big boot, then throw Akam into the wall, and then would go right for Seth Rollins and try to choke him out after peppering him with a whole bunch of rabbit punches to the face. But unfortunately, the AOP would recover, make their way into the ring, and then would try to stop him from completing his ultimate mission of taking out Seth Rollins yet again. But unfortunately, after a whole bunch of security would show up, separate them, and then Kevin Owens would play cannonball from the top rope and take out everybody, both of them would be asked to leave the building for the night. And Samoa Joe would give a stern warning that if anybody touches him on the way out, they won't be able to feel their fingers anymore. And so, Kevin Owens now has a powerful ally in his corner thanks to Seth Metal's actions of trying to take out Samoa Joe for not moving out of the way for trying to destroy Rey Mysterio. And also on the other side of the fence, I forgot to mention, since we said both of them, we meant both KO and Samoa Joe and the AOP and Seth Rollins after he called himself a messiah on open television, sacrificing himself for the greater good. So, he's in the same category as Neo now? Whatever. Anyway, the first match on Monday Night Raw to close out this year would be none other than Buddy Murphy going one-on-one against Alistair Black. And this match, action would go back and forth between these two with plenty of kicks and maneuvers that I think I've only seen in several kung fu movies over my life. But one of the coolest things that happened during this match comes from Alistair Black by doing a fake out roundhouse into a super kick for a near fall, and would even be able to counteract a sit out power bomb after a sunset flip from Buddy Murphy for a near fall. But this match will come to an end again after Buddy Murphy would get too full of himself, try to do the same leg up maneuver that Alistair Black would do, then would try to go for Murphy's Law for it to get countered into a roll up, then a black mass from out of nowhere, then Alistair Black almost listening to his inner Mortal Kombat telling him, finish him, picking him up, black massing him again, and winning this match in the center of the ring via pinfall. And possibly one of the matches of the year in my opinion. And according to the Maestro, he's writing it down in the book for the Indie Awards for this year for Match of the Year. Alright, go ahead. And immediately after that back and forth match that I can't wait to see again on live television, the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would be Erick Rowan going one-on-one against Kip Stevens. And Kip Stevens, for those who don't know, was one of the people who was the tag team that went up against Heavy Machinery when they were on SmackDown. But now he's alone, and I got a feeling he wished he had some form of backup, because during this match, even though he tried to hide underneath the ring and almost touched the cage of Erick Rowan, he would be squashed, frog splashed, and then iron clawed right out of existence for Erick Rowan to win this match via pinfall. The end. And immediately after that match, folks, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would be Charlotte Flair going one-on-one against Natalya, after Charlotte would announce that she would be the first entrant announced in the Women's Royal Rumble that will take place next year, and would say that she's the first woman superstar to announce, or the male superstar, then brag about her accolades like if she was Muhammad Ali or anybody else who would usually get braggadocious around this time of the year, only for Natalya to show up and try to shut her up. And how would she do that? Well, during this match, besides not only throwing elbows and also hitting her with a nasty Liger bomb for a near fall, but would constantly, on multiple occasions, would try to go for her sharpshooter and would even hit Charlotte with a German suplex during this match for a near fall. But ultimately, all that would be futile against the Queen, because not only she would be able to hit a nasty spear, a natural selection, a basement version of it, and would also finally be able to lock in her figure 8 leg lock for Natalya to try to struggle out of it, but for the third time in her career, tap out to a submission hold once again, and for Charlotte to win this match via pinfall. Wow, what a year for Natalya, tapping out 3 separate times, being a member of the Hart Foundation, or at least the Hart family. Either way, that's bad. That's real bad. And speaking of people who have tapped out in their lifetimes, the next person to make their way backstage for a special interview would be none other than the man, Becky Lynch. Not only to tell the people at home when her rematch will take place between Asuka, which will be at the Royal Rumble for this year, but would also say that she looks to erase that embarrassing loss that she suffered last year at the Royal Rumble against Asuka, or die trying. And would even bring up her contract, saying that she wouldn't have re-signed if she couldn't have gotten this match against Asuka. So that lets you know on her Kill Bill list that she has at home that Asuka is on the top of it. Now, I'm not too entirely sure how that Kill Bill thing would work and who was placed where, but let's just say I can't wait to see if Becky Lynch is finally going to be able to topple the Empress of Tomorrow at the Royal Rumble. And after that little bit of business, folks, the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would be the Street Profits going one-on-one against the OC. And one thing I give the Street Profits before this match can begin is mentioning the teen show that the OC was named after, which I mentioned this joke months in advance, but hey, at least it's out there now. But nevertheless, folks, during this match, there was no bit of silliness at all, because both of these men would try to beat the living daylights out of each other, including Montez Ford doing a very impressive rope flip punch into the outside of the ring, nearly taking out the cameraman at one point, leading into the curse of greatness himself, Angelo Dawkins, to do a quote-unquote sky high, even though it was spine buster, leading into Montez Ford doing a frog splash to Luke Gallows in the center of the ring, for them to beat the best tag team in the world that beat the Viking Raiders 2 times in their careers via pinfall. and it would be announced later on that night that the Viking Raiders, the Street Profits, and even the OC will be going at it in a three-way dance to kick off the new year for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And the Viking Raiders would say they are ready for 2020 and are ready to go to war against those two teams. And I can't wait to see how that turns out, and I really hope it's not one of those tag team matches where, one guy tags in, then the other person has to get out. Hopefully it's a three-way tag team match. Like, for example, all three members of the team, one of them on the apron, all three of them in the ring. That sort of formation of a tag team match. Not the ones they've been doing in the past, the ones that they did at the Survivor Series. That's what needs to happen. And if it does, I got a feeling it'll be a great way to start off the year. That's just my opinion. And the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would be Drew McIntyre going one-on-one against Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. The Major Brothers, who started off this year 4 months deep, becoming the Raw Tag Team Champions, now forced to face off against the Scottish Terminator himself, Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre, who didn't sweat the small stuff in this case, would decide to give a survey to the crowd like if he was Scott Hall circa the NWO, and would say, which one of you out there think I should be worried about fighting against these two tag team warriors here? And would say, which one of you think that they should be worried about fighting me? And everybody would raise their hand, and they would say, no matter who you are in the ring, it's proof. The numbers don't lie. When you're fighting against Drew McIntyre, you're screwed. And to prove that they weren't screwed, they tried to attack Drew McIntyre prior to the match, and unfortunately for them, Drew McIntyre was prepared to clothesline one into the freaking side of the barricade on the outside of the ring, and for Kurt Hawkins to get slipped up and then brought inside the ring to get belly to belly halfway to the other side of the equator, and then with a beautiful New Year's countdown would lead directly into a Claymore kick to the face for Zack Ryder to suffer the future shock DDT, and for the person who I think is gonna win this year's Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre, to win this match via pinfall. Yes, I'm calling it right now, folks. Drew McIntyre is gonna win the Royal Rumble for this year, and if it's not him, I got a feeling Alistair Black is in second place for that one. But seriously, I'm hoping Drew McIntyre can win the Rumble, because who else is gonna face off against neither The Fiend or, Brock Lesnar? Yeah, Drew McIntyre. If not him, Dio Madden. Or I keep forgetting the name of the guy. Matt Riddle. Yeah, him or Matt Riddle. One of the three. But besides my early Royal Rumble predictions, folks, the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would feature Randy Orton breaking the bad news to everybody that he was injured, that he won't be able to make his way to the ring, and he doesn't even know he's going to be able to return. But he did promise the people at home that he will RKO somebody by WrestleMania. Only for, of all people, AJ Styles, who got kicked out of the match earlier tonight involving the Street Profits, which I completely forgot to mention, to come out and brag about the fact that Randy Orton got injured. And then would say, you know what, I'm gonna be patient, I can wait to beat you up at WrestleMania. And for Randy Orton to say, you might be patient, but I'm not. To hit the Phenomenal One with an RKO in the center of the ring, step on that leg that had that crutch to say, ha ha, I fooled you, and for Randy Orton to celebrate in the ring while everybody breathed a sigh of relief as Randy Orton pulled a Mark Henry on everybody. And why do I say a Mark Henry? Because last time I remembered somebody saying, I'm gonna retire, I'm going away for a long time or something like that. Yeah, it ended up in an attack. And that would be the same thing Mark Henry did, and it was during this decade that he did that. Yeah, these are facts, Relax, folks. And besides the fake out from Randy Orton, folks, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would be none other than El Idolo, Andrade Cien Almas, going one-on-one against Ricochet. Even though he was going up against some random guy that nobody knew the name of at the announce table, and was just about to hammerlock DDT him into the concrete, only for Ricochet, the modern day superhero, to step up to the plate and try to take on Andrade himself. And during this match, action will go back and forth, and on several different occasions when it looked like Ricochet was gonna go home with the win against the new United States champion, unfortunately Zelina Vega would have other plans, because every single time Ricochet would try to get some form of offense, neither a grab of the hand, a sweep of the foot, or even a push off the top rope, giving Andrade enough of an opportunity to hit his hammerlock DDT against Ricochet for El Idolo to win this match in magnifico fashion via pinfall. And you know, I'm going to start using the word magnifico more often in the year of 2020. Yeah, that's going to be my thing for the next decade. The word magnifico. And it'll be followed up with a whole bunch of different guitars in the background. We'll have to figure out how we're going to work that out, but besides that, folks, and that was the main event of the evening we forgot to mention, which would lead into the wedding of the decade. Boy, oh boy, the wedding between Bobby Lashley and Lana. And to save you guys and girls out there about 20 minutes of Jerry Springer chants and even Austin Creed saying that this wedding reminded him of the wedding that took place in the TV show Passions, which it really did remind me of too. Yeah, let's just say when the ring ceremony took place and Lana decided to try to kiss Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley's makeup was on her and her makeup was on Bobby Lashley, which was a good 5-minute laugh. Then when it got to the part where they said, hey, if anybody, rejects this wedding, come out or forever hold your peace, and they would come out of the woodwork. Not only some random guy who said, I married Lana when she was 18, and then she left for Rusev, and then left Rusev for him. And the same thing's gonna happen to you when the next big thing comes out. And then I thought of Brock Lesnar. I said, hell no, please God, don't let that happen. And then Bobby Lashley would shut him up with a spine buster, even though a lot of people said it was a choke slam, but it was a spine buster. Then you would have another woman come out in the form of some random woman saying that she married Bobby Lashley when they were in the military. But Lana would shut her up with a vase full of flowers, slapping her in the face for the priest to just continue on until of all people to come out to interrupt the wedding next in the form of one Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, who's had weeks of promos talking about how she's changed and how she's going to inflict that change upon the world, has decided to target somebody in that ring. And Bobby Lashley would say, I never touched that woman a day in my life. And then for Liv to say, oh, not you, I'm talking about Lana. Boom, boom, boom. You gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. And this would lead to a big old cat fight, in the word of Joey Styles, in the center of the ring, only for of all people to come out after that cat fight would get broken up by Fit Finlay and the rest of the people in the back by none other than Rusev Day to get out of the cake, beat the crap out of Bob Lashley, as he calls him, hit him with a Machika kick, slap people in the face with cake for Monday Night Raw to close out for this week with a wedding disaster that I saw coming from a mile away. Yeah, folks, wedding of the decade. That's how we end off Monday Night Raw. I could have sworn throughout this entire decade, every sort of New Year's sort of party ended up in a bad way. And I got 4 examples before we go on to the next part of the show. The whole incident with Dolph Ziggler getting chocolate rained on his head or whatever the world that was, that's 1. The whole party with the Authority, that's 2. The situation where John Cena invited the Authority back after he tried to play Superman and save his arch nemesis Edge from getting his neck broken, that's 3. And yeah, this one, we're gonna count this incident right here as incident number 4. So yeah, happy past 10 years of Monday Night Raw, and to see it go out like this, I feel like I'm Nostradamus. I saw it coming. And with that said, folks, we might as well continue this New Year's party rolling. And when we return, we'll be back with more of the Tuesday Night Special right after this. So don't pop that champagne for New Year's just yet, folks, and stay tuned.